two Ds.
Yeah, look at that smile. He has been flying high this year. 19.5 points per game. He's shooting 63% from the floor. Number 21, look out.
Shannon Carter wins the tip for Georgia Southern, and away we go. 8th all-time meeting between Georgia Tech and Georgia Southern. Last one came just a couple of years ago, but Georgia Tech wins. As you said, Georgia Southern averaging over 90 points per game, a feed down low. And with 7 to shoot, a three-pointer from Tyron Moore drops, and Georgia Southern, one of the most lethal three-point shooting teams in the conference, if not the country, hits their first one.
And Tyron's averaging 13 points per game this season, 46% from beyond the arc, and he picks up right where he's left off coming in here.
And a high lob entry pass to Baye Dongo, the same starting 5 for Georgia Tech now in each of the last 4 games. Meanwhile, for Georgia Southern, a slight change to their starting lineup. Dwayne Williams Jr., the redshirt freshman, making his first career start. A three-point try from the left side, and Alden Applewhite drills it. And this is what we expected. Georgia Southern, they can shoot from 3. Georgia Tech, they've got the size advantage. Expect them to try and work in the paint.
Yeah, it's a veteran team. Got one logged in. Kraft knocked down 5 triples at Georgia in the loss. He's coming in tonight with the hot hand, but he left it a little bit short on that one. But right here, we'll see Georgia Southern. This is what they like to do. Get to the paint, kick out. Most times they're going to have 4 players on the floor that can shoot that 3, and they are not afraid to let it fly, Wiley.
5 players shooting 40% or better from distance. Baseline inbound after the jump ball. Jaden Mustaf at point guard for Georgia Tech. Looking to get it in, he goes to Sylla. The true freshman, 21 years old, out of Senegal. Mustaf looking for Sylla, who tumbles. Mustaf tries to drive and split the D, draws the foul.
That's his strength right there, putting the ball on the floor. He's a bigger guard, has a knack for drawing fouls. He's going to be aggressive too, loves to attack the paint.
So fresh shot clock, Cam Kraft, transfer from Miami of Ohio, his first year at Georgia Tech, gets it into Mustaf. Will pick and roll from high to low, Dongo up, and he'll go to the line as he's hit from behind by Spud Webb.
Yeah, that's you got to watch that. You know, Georgia Tech will attack the paint, put the foul on the Eagles' leading scorer, Webb, on this play. Here we go, high-low action. Attacking the offense from the high post, and they love that big-to-big action with Sylla to Dongo.
So Dongo at the line, preseason all ACC selection. Averaging 9 points so far this year. He was averaging over 13 last year as an all-conference selection. And now just 5 for 9 at the free throw line so far this year.
Dongo should come in well rested. He only logged 19 minutes in the loss at Georgia. Had 10 points in that game, was 4 of 6 from the field, but was saddled on the bench in foul trouble.
And that was one of the keys for Damon Stoudemire. Can they defend without fouling, particularly in the front court? Georgia Tech feels like if you've got Baye Dongo and Mo Sylla on the floor, points are going to be hard to come by in the paint.
Yeah, great length, even on the perimeter. I mean, you look at Mustaf guarding the point guard position. We're talking about a guy that's 6'4", 6'5", nice wingspan, and that's one of Tech's strengths, why they're top 10 in field goal percentage defense in the country.
7 to shoot. Williams gets it to Tyron Moore. Got to go up with it. Applewhite lets it go. Dongo straight up, no whistle. And action continues, close to a shot clock violation. The Jackets in transition, Cam Kraft, no. And now Georgia Southern, can they get out and run?
Kraft had everything but the finish there. He's a great shooter, so he commands that poor closeout. Got to the rim, just couldn't finish.
Tyron Moore rattles it in, and Georgia Southern now 3 for 4, all from three-point land.
Again, Moore's a graduate player who's got over 1,000+ points in his career.
Georgia Southern with a 6-point lead here in the early going. Kowacie Reeves to answer, splash.
Featured him on the open, that's why he's been hitting big shots. The senior steps up, knocks down a triple when the Jackets need it.
And a jumper just inside the free throw line from Webb won't go, but a second chance now for Georgia Southern. Dongo goes up, Spud Webb finds a way. Wow.
Webb's the guy, he's about 6'4", but he has long arms, able to finish in the paint.
Mustaf tries the teardrop, it won't go. Tyron Moore jacks a three, a little too strong. And Kawasi Reeves with the board. It's one area where Georgia Tech was really beaten last week against Georgia as Jaden Mustaf travels with it. But points in transition, John, 30-6. Georgia outscored Georgia Tech on Friday.
Yeah, that will be a key area of focus for the Jackets, but decision-making against the Eagles are going to play high pace. You see Charlie Henry, he's known for coaching high-paced offense. Wiley has had much success in his career, came from Alabama, and then was also with Iowa State and sometime in the G League as well. He's a guy that's got a diverse portfolio, out-of-the-box hire. He's doing a great job here at Georgia Southern.
Spent a lot of time around Fred Hoiberg and Nate Oates. Most recently from Alabama is Dwayne Williams, just off the mark, and a rebound from Akai Fleming, who checks in for Georgia Tech, the true freshman.
I was saying, Wiley, before we were featuring Coach, was playing fast. You know, it's okay to play fast, but decision-making while you play fast is tough. The Eagles are a team that they're used to it. This is how they play. I'm interested to watch how Georgia Tech takes care of the ball and makes good decisions. And here we have Coach Stoudemire.
In his third season at Georgia Tech, spoke to him before the game, and he felt like the key was, like you said, decision-making, taking care of the basketball. And it's something Georgia Tech has struggled with so far this season. They've committed at least 13 turnovers in every game this year, including 20 in a win over Southeastern Louisiana.
There's going to be multiple possessions in this game. It's going to be back and forth. The ability of Georgia Tech to take care of the basketball will be critical, as well as guarding the perimeter.
And some late subs coming in by Dongo, heads to the bench. Cam Kraft checks in. A couple changes on the Georgia Southern side as well, as we get a look at Jefferson Coulibaly and Nicavian White. And off the inbound pass, Cam Kraft, short corner jumper, he's money from there.
Great execution. He did a nice job curling off the staggered double, and his timing was just perfect.
Down the left side, Applewhite got a step on Fleming. Sylla goes up. It will be called for the goaltending, and that takes us to our first break. Georgia Southern, one of the top offenses in the Sun Belt. They've already hit 3 threes in the opening minutes here in Atlanta. Well, when Coach Charlie Henry rebuilt the Georgia Southern roster this offseason, he looked for shooters, and that is what he has gotten through 4 games this year. The Eagles lead the Sun Belt in both those shooting categories. On the flip side, John, Georgia Tech is top 10 nationally in defending both shots and three-point shots. And so far, Georgia Southern's winning that battle.
Yeah, something's got to give. It's early on in this one, but right now, Applewhite with 5 points. He's 1 of 2 from beyond the arc, and Tyron Moore 2 for 3 from beyond the arc. So they've combined for 11 of 13 points, and that damage, 3 of the made field goals coming from beyond the arc.
Only 1 returning player for Georgia Southern from last year's team. That is Nicavian White. Not currently on the floor as Kraft gets to Lamar. Washington drives, kick out, Reeves off the mark. And that'll be the last touch by Fleming, Georgia Southern basketball.
That was a nice hustle by Fleming trying to get on the glass, and Washington did a nice job getting to the paint, finding an open shooter. Inside out 3, come up short. Defense need to dig in for the Jackets.
Webb down the right side of the lane, feeds low, and it's swatted away by Peyton Marshall, the Missouri transfer, an Atlanta native coming back home this year. And Washington looked like he might have been poked in the eye there. We got a foul coming. And that's going to be charged to Shannon Carter. But just a moment there, we saw Jefferson Coulibaly guarding Lamar Washington. They were teammates at Pacific last year out in California. Now competing against each other in Georgia.
What are the chances, right? Huh? Reunite in Atlanta, Georgia. Two different teams. Washington averaging 14.5 through 2 games played. They really like his veteran leadership, and he's got experience.
And Kraft has a shot deflected. Nicavian White got a piece of it. Georgia Southern with the basketball, a 5-point lead, 5 minutes in. White slips his man. Bounce pass down low, a little miscommunication perhaps between Andres Burney and Alden Applewhite. First turnover for Georgia Southern.
Lemon got hit on the back door, lost sight of the man. It was just a miscommunication. Applewhite was running into the offensive attack.
Chaz Kelly has checked in for Georgia Tech now. 3 in White, beg your pardon, 7 in White down in the bottom right corner. Marshall in the low block. Got the mismatch on Burney. Gets tied up down low. And Georgia Southern earns a jump. And
See
they will
right
have
there.
possession.
Yeah, Marshall backing down 1 dribble, 2 dribbles. It looked like they're going to go on the first dribble. A hard double. They sent 2 guys at Marshall. See if he can handle the pressure.
So another turnover for Georgia Tech. And some pressure here in the backcourt as Kelly rides Kyrie Dunn and is called for the foul.
That was an area of concern against the Bulldogs, fouling. You know, fouling off the ball, really gave up a lot of points. Lost the battle of the free throw line against the Dogs by 15 points. And, you know, if they cut that in half, they get the dub and leave Athens with a win.
Georgia shot 44 free throws. That was the most free throws taken against Georgia Tech in a single game since February of 2008 as Dunn waltzes his way down the lane, and the tap in there from Andres Burney. So far, Georgia Southern 6 for 12 from the floor, and they're winning the rebounding battle. Dongo cross court. Fleming gets a step, wide open lane, goes up, hangs and hits.
Acrobatic finish right there by the freshman, hanging. And then drops it. Georgia Tech needed that one. Down 5, 2-possession game.
Coach Stoudemire told us if he could do one thing over Friday night, he would have had a Kai Fleming play more. Because that one goes 3/4 of the way down, then pops out. Lamar Washington walked 30 minutes at point guard. He's called for carrying there. I think he lost it on his right hip.
Now 3 Georgia Tech turnovers are right there. Fleming, he's a guy that's electric on the offensive side of the ball. Super athletic, playing just shy of 18 minutes per game and averaging 9 points in each outing this season. He's the guy that's going to add value. He's going to continue to grow and mature along the process, but I love his ability. He's got a very high ceiling to his game on both sides of the basketball.
Seeing pressure in Nicavian White there. In the lane, Koulibaly off the front of the rim. Dongo looks to run the break after getting the rebound. And Baye turns it over, looking for Marshall. Eagles are running. Dunn can't finish. And now it's Washington. He'll slow it down for the Yellow Jackets. Look at some of the numbers from Georgia Tech against UGA from the guard position. You see Washington with 16, Mustaf 15, and there's Baye Dongo with the right hand, but that's going to be key for Georgia Tech. They rely heavily on Dongo and Sylla, but they've got to get some offensive production from the guard spots.
Yeah, and I like what Fleming's doing right there. And tacks off the bounce and finds the pick for the finish. The Eagles answer again. Dunn from deep.
4 threes already on 7 tries, and this is part of Georgia Southern's DNA. This isn't necessarily a hot start. It's really the skill they have. They had a 61-point second half as they create another turnover here.
They're averaging 93 points per game through 4 games played this season. This is how they play. Georgia Tech will need to respond.
Kyrie Dunn, the sophomore transferring in from College of Southern Idaho. Gets it off to Nicavian White. Late feed, and Bernie's there to finish it. Big to big.
And now Georgia Tech getting beat on dribble drive penetration, transition offense. The early offense, the dribble drives, stinging the Jackets early on in this one, Wiley.
Georgia Southern looking for their first win over Georgia Tech since 1958. Off to a good start. Turnovers from Georgia Tech, and it's been a collective effort. 5 different players with 1 turnover. And there are the numbers you're talking about. Georgia Tech trying to take better care of the basketball. This Dongo cross court. Fleming, plenty of space. Just a touch short. 1 and done. So far, Georgia Southern holding their own on the glass as well. That's been a big key. As Nakavian White off the dribble, he gets it to fall.
And that's where they're tough to guard. Peyton Marshall was not there on the show, on the ball screen at the top of the arc, and all this team needs is a split second. They're gonna let it fly.
Fleming hoists it high, Dongo gets it, reverse in. And a bench warning here coming on Georgia Southern. That was called by the officials, Trey Steins, whose late father, Ramey, an ACC legend.
There we see the high-low action again. Georgia Tech getting in the interior. Offense has not been a problem other than the turnovers for the Jackets. They're getting high-quality shots, have missed a couple good threes. It'll be taking care of the basketball and then assignment defense.
So far, the comments that Coach Stoudemire shared with us at shoot-around today, feeling like this Georgia Southern game is similar to what the North Florida game was last year, defensively at least. They seem pretty prescient right now because this is a Georgia Southern team that can shoot the 3, but as you pointed out earlier, they were having success in the paint just before that last timeout.
Yeah, it takes a disciplined approach, and it takes a disciplined approach from all 5 players on the floor. But that was a solid defensive possession, but then you give up the offensive rebound, done, wide open.
And another offensive rebound on the 3rd try. It's Andres Bernie. And you expect Georgia Southern to hit their 3s and make their shots. But you don't expect, if you're Coach Stoudemire, to lose the battle of the boards.
It's a team that requires you to play discipline, communicate, all 5 guys for the entire shot clock, and then you've got to box out. Team that shoots a lot of 3s, there'll be long rebounds, and we're already seeing the offensive boards being a factor in this one.
Another turnover. Here comes Kyrie Dunn, but a whistle. And we've got a foul coming here on Nakavian White. That's a bit of a break for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Southern's coming from every angle. As soon as Georgia Tech post players touch the ball, the trap is coming right there from the top. They X from the top, rotate out, and it's fast break right there. Georgia Tech luckily gets the foul called on that one, but this is an aggressive half-court defense right now, Wiley.
I beg your pardon, that foul is actually going to be on Jefferson Koulibaly. Moustafa to inbound. Sylla has been quiet so far. Not a single field goal attempt from the freshman big. They look for Sylla down low. It's denied. Moustafa, 5 to shoot. Fleming's got to cut it loose, and he knocks it down.
Great looking player. He can do it all, and he's so young. The more experience he gets, he's going to be a tremendous player here in the ACC.
Kick out. Spud Webb, not known as a 3-point shooter, clanks that one. He's one of the few guys in this Georgia Southern roster that it's not their strength. Fleming already with 5 points, looking for more and won't drop.
Well, heat check right there. I don't mind that. Just knocked a couple down.
And White was close to walking with it. Turnover anyway. Moustafa looks to Reeves, goes up, and he will go to the line, drawing the foul.
Yeah, the ability to draw contact, we spoke of it earlier. Moustafa's a guy that's a big guard, plays well going downhill towards the basket. And with his size and strength, his physicality, he's going to put fouls on the defender. It's a great look at it right here. Eyes are up, he sees the floor. One hard dribble and he gets it. The side step, the Euro step. High IQ play, he made the right decision there. Free throws will be important, Wiley.
especially for Moustav. He's got a great free throw rate, but shooting just a tick over 50% from the stripe so far this year. He hits the first.
Georgia Tech started the season 3-0. They went into Athens against the in-state rival and left 11 points at the free throw line. Lost the game by 5, so who knows? You know, free throws are definitely a premium on them right now, and it's an area of focus for Georgia Tech to improve on.
So Moustav hits them both. Lead trimmed to 6. We got a foul coming here. It's going to be on Sylla.
This is foreign territory right now for Stoudemire's Jackets this season. Their only opponents are averaging 62 points per game against them, and now just 11 minutes into this one, they've given up 25 points. So see if they can adjust.
Moore kicks out, another 3. Applewhite, no. Longport. Washington's got it for the Yellow Jackets. Moustav steps into a 3. And an offensive rebound for Georgia Tech. That was their first of the game. Washington tries the finger roll, left it underneath the rim. And it's Georgia Tech basketball.
It's an athletic lineup for Georgia Tech. Fleming, Washington, Moustav, Reeves surrounding the big Sylla. Now you've got a lot of length, a lot of athleticism and versatility. All 5 guys can go off the bounce. All 5 guys play above the rim, and they can all stretch the floor.
To Sylla, guarded by Savet Satirov from Bulgaria. Ball is loose. Sylla recovers. Ball pressure from Georgia Southern has been so impressive. Washington a 3. No. Sylla scarfs up the board. Reeves, high arcing 3, drains it. Now an 8-0 run for Georgia Tech over the last 2 minutes to get themselves back to within 3.
It's Reeves' second triple in this one. He's got 6 points, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc.
Dwayne Williams a 3, way too strong. And the Yellow Jackets a chance to continue this run. Down low, Sylla. And a high pass corralled by Kwesi Reeves in the corner. And looking for Fleming, but Williams is there, and it's Satirov with possession for Georgia Southern. Reeves picks it off. And jarred loose by Webb. The Yellow Jackets, they withstood the first punch. An 8-0 run has gotten them to back within 3. And so far, pretty high quality basketball between Midtown Atlanta and South Georgia.
The tier of player that's coming to Atlanta. Coach Hobbs, veteran associate head coach on the bench. Great recruiting done by the assistant coaching staff by the Yellow Jackets.
Sylla with the putback, and he'll go to the line for another. That's the first shot of the night for Sylla. It's a high percentage look, and he's got a chance to tie the game here at the free throw line.
Sylla averaging 11 and 11 on the season. He's a double-double machine, but again, Georgia Tech, the ability to get to the rim and attack at the basket. Moustav right there, even though he missed, that creates the offense for Sylla.
And Sylla hits the free throw. He's struggled from the line so far this year. That's a good sign. So the game is tied in 13-0 run for Georgia Tech. Georgia Southern, meanwhile, they missed their last 5 3-point attempts. They go down low, banging, and left short by Carter. And Georgia Tech up again. Washington weaves in off the glass. Sylla, I think they're gonna get him for hanging on the rim. Yeah, that's going to be offensive basket interference.
Yeah, Sylla, we'll probably get another look at it here in a little bit, but the left hand was on top of the rim. Sylla touched it, so left hand was right here. We're going to get a good look. Boom, left hand on the basket, touches the ball. That's where the call, the whistle comes in.
Meanwhile, Lamar Washington's saying to himself, I've never been called for that once in my life.
It's nice work by our production crew. Didn't leave me hanging, man. That's because we're on the ball. I love it.
They take care of you in there, Babel. They like you in there, Babel, in that truck. Tanner Fitz, our producer. Yeah. Moore cuts loose a three. And Georgia Southern, they hit 5 of their first 9, but since have gone cold. Mustaf up, and he'll go to the line.
And now you're seeing the effect of Georgia Tech pushing the ball, playing with pace, but making good decisions. When they take care of the ball, Wiley, they're effective at getting to the basket. And again, I said the versatility of this lineup. Guys that can get out, pitch ahead, and attack, and they've got the size advantage from the perimeter. Mustaf, great at taking the contact, goes to the left and almost got the and one.
And that is the 3rd foul on Tyron Moore. So he will head to the bench. And he's been their leading 3-point shooter so far this year, so we may not see more of him these next 6 minutes. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech now with their first lead of the night.
See, Mustaf gets 2 there. He's drawn 3 fouls on the opponent already in this one, so not only are you getting the line, you're putting fouls on some of the key players for the Eagles.
White drives, and he is hammered up top. Foul's going to be charged to Mo Sylla.
Jackets on a 13-0 run over the last 3:55, 15-2 run in the last 5 minutes and change. And I'm not sure what Coach Stoudemire said, but the entire team has responded. We see right there attacking the basketball, verticality, Fleming and Sylla, 2 dynamic freshmen ready to play right now.
And White misses the free throw. Georgia Southern hasn't scored at all in the last 4.5 minutes. Another look here. They got Sylla on the call. I guess coming down there.
Yeah, probably a little suspect at the end of the play, but Georgia Southern earns the whistle. White did a nice job attacking aggressively, didn't back down from the shot blocker.
And White goes 1 for 2. That was Georgia Southern's first trip to the line tonight. So a 1-point lead for Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets, who committed 5 turnovers in the first 5 minutes, only 1 in the last 10. Washington takes on Dunn, feeds Dongo. Good active hands for Spud Webb. A scrum for the ball, and the Eagles come out with it. And is that going to be a foul on Dongo? It is.
Dongo's first, 14 fouls for the Jackets. You see the swarming defense, the Eagles, the ability to get in there. They're going to trap on that baseline drive, and then the collapsing defense is on point.
So with Moore in foul trouble, it's the sophomore Kyrie Dunn running point guard for Georgia Southern. Dunn bouncing off of Washington, hangs and hits the runner.
Tell you what, Coach Charlie Henry's got the Eagles ready to go. They're competing, there's high energy on the bench, and on both sides of the ball, they're just playing aggressive, loosey-goosey, and no pressure.
And a foul coming on Spud Webb here. He wants Coach Henry to challenge it, contending that Dongo tripped.
You had a better look at it than me. I got the full screen from Charlie Henry's staff. Kente Hart, Nori Johnson, George Nielsen assembled a nice coaching staff. Here's a great look. Yeah, there's a little bit of contact downstairs.
You can see the feet got tangled up, and you can see Spud Webb looking for the review. No challenge from Georgia Southern. It's a new rule in college basketball this year. And Dongo hits the front end of the 1-and-1. That really hurt Georgia Tech. You mentioned the free throws they missed, John, against Georgia, but there were also some front ends of 1-and-1s that they missed.
Absolutely, and tonight 7 of 8 from the line, so shooting at an 87.5% clip, much better.
Dongo with a game-high 8 points, and now 9. Baye will take a seat. Peyton Marshall coming in. So lead back to Georgia Tech, and it's Jefferson Coulibaly on the ball now. White takes Reeves off the dribble. Off balance. It's to White with 6 to shoot. 3-point try. Air ball. Washington, a poor pass and a turnover. White goes up, and it's Shannon Carter who flushes it.
And another turnover.
And another turnover. Oh my.
Just miscommunication on that one.
And an offensive foul coming on Carter.
Carter was moving on the roll right there. The screen and roll totally wiped out the Georgia Tech defender. He will have another look. Marshall, nice job staying vertical. Carter was there to clean up the miss. It's an athletic Eagles roster and playing hard. Really getting after the Yellow Jackets.
And you made the point earlier, Georgia Southern wants to play fast. If Georgia Tech wants to do that, they've got to make good decisions, and a couple of sloppy turnovers when the game picked up pace. Washington 3, too strong. Fleming rises for the rebound, goes back up, and off the mark.
Well, Georgia Tech's really adjusted to the pace of play. They had 5 early turnovers and now just 7 in the game, so they've only had 2 turnovers over the last 10 minutes.
So an official's timeout. Georgia Southern, a 1-point edge. These teams trading blows here in the first half. It was a priority entering this season. Coach Stoudemire spoke about it before Georgia Tech's opener, but turnovers. Can the Yellow Jackets take care of the basketball? And it has been a challenge so far tonight again, already with 8 and still nearly 4 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, and luckily the Jackets are 3 and 1, but you see the turnovers. Maryland Eastern Shore to start the season, 13 turnovers. Against Bryant, they had 13. Southeast Louisiana, 20. Adjusted on the road against tougher competition, but still 14, a little bit too much. You want to be at 10 or a little bit below there. And so far tonight, again, pace of play, number of possessions through the roof, but the Jackets, 8 turnovers in this one, resulting in some points for the Eagles.
Yeah, worth noting, Georgia, that was a high possession game, right? So there's maybe a little bit of, got to factor that in a little bit, but ultimately Damon Stoudemire not satisfied with the amount of turnovers as Peyton Marshall tries to hang on to the rebound, gets it off to Lamar Washington. And of course, Nate George, who led the ACC in assists last year, no longer at Georgia Tech, transferring to Syracuse. And there's a feeling that, it's going to take a little time to figure out the guard rotation and find some rhythm with so many new players. So I think the hope is for Georgia Tech, that's a number that continues to go down throughout the season.
Yeah, and what's crazy, a lot of the turnovers not just coming from the perimeter.
Yes.
The post players adjusting to getting trapped. We've seen Georgia Southern, they're automatically trapping Marshall, Sylla, and Dongo, forcing Georgia Tech's front line to make decisions. That's where many of the turnovers have come.
Fleming hits the first. Georgia Tech well into the double bonus now. I asked Coach Stoudemire about perhaps moving Lamar Washington into that starting rotation after the games he's put up, and he's got a pro mindset on it, John, where he just doesn't feel like starting is as significant as those on the outside might think. Ultimately, it comes down to how many minutes are you getting, and are you on the floor at the end?
Yeah, cumulative minutes. Washington's logged 28 minutes through 2 games on average, and 8 assists, 5 turnovers, averaging 14 and a half. But he brings a steadiness to him, and then Mustaf also playing some point. He's getting reps, and that's what the most important thing is at that position. Getting reps, in-game reps, playing at a fast pace.
Dunn goes up, left it short, but tipped back in by Andres Burney, the redshirt senior in his 6th year of college basketball. He's playing his 156th career game tonight, John.
That's 5 offensive rebounds and 8 second chance points for the scrappy Eagles.
Marshall trying to go up, and he jams it home. Good patience underneath. Back tied at 32. White feeds it, and Burney will go to the line. Foul coming on Kawasi Reeves.
Another possession where the Eagles are able to get into the blue area on the floor, the paint, and they're breaking down Georgia Tech's defense. Here, we'll get a great look at the lob on the other end. Tremendous lob pass. Nice job by Marshall to gather, go up strong and finish. And on the other end, it's just Georgia Southern has had a knack at getting to the paint. And that's forcing the Jackets defense to break down a little bit.
Well, you go back to that North Florida loss a year ago, and a similar type of opponent for Georgia Tech tonight. There was this feeling that Georgia Tech might have tried to guard the 3 too closely against North Florida and open up some lanes to dribble drive. It's kind of a fine, happy medium, as you described it before we went on the air tonight, between protecting against the 3, a good shooting team, but also not giving up the paint.
Yeah, and some real positives. Georgia Tech, again, they're holding Georgia Southern at 40% from the field, 31% from 3, and they've only sent them to the line 4 times. So Georgia Tech's still doing a lot of really good things defensively.
Transition bucket doesn't go for Georgia Southern, and a turnover.
And another turnover. Here, Wiley, you take it. No, you take it.
No, you want. I insist. Well, it's the holidays. It's the giving time of season.
We're going to have to work on our offense to defensive conversion here, too. I mean, we're going. But that's it, the pace of play, the number of possessions, there's an adjustment you have to go through. And if you play fast, a responsibility comes with that pace. And right now, we're seeing the residual effect of maybe playing a little bit faster than you're used to.
Marshall trying to take on Burney, and he traveled with it.
And another turnover.
And another turnover.
Wow. That's one thing you'd say about Coach Stoudemire. He's a guy that's been there, done it, seen it all, and I love his demeanor on the sideline, just his poise. If you're a player and you're playing for him, you can look over there. He's always just got that point guard face on, solid, stoic, get to the next play. I think there's something to that, as a former player, when you look over there and you can see your coach, he believes in this team.
And Washington robs Dunn, 2-on-1, flips it back to Dongo, but it's Mustaf who ends up with it, and he will go to the free throw line. It feels like we're playing on ice.
Eagles foul charge number 3, his first.
And again, we're going to see Mustaf, right? He's the one that hung the foul on the opponent. Scrappy defensive effort. Washington brings that to the table. Transfer from Pacific. Not sure he intended the ball to go there, but Mustaf with a nose for the ball has the ability to draw those fouls, get to the line, and knocks down another one.
You mentioned the challenges of playing point guard and Damon Stoudemire's demeanor. He was joking earlier today about how a lot of guys want to play point guard until they actually get the opportunity, and they say, you know what, this is pretty tough.
You have to be in elite condition to play the point guard position. If you're picking up 94 feet, defensively, you're getting banged on ball screen situations. And then offensively, you're never off. You're just on, you're leading, you're directing. You've got the ball in your hand, you're getting lit up by a defender. Tough position to play.
Dunn has the ball kick off his feet. On the ground, it's Burney. And jump ball. It'll belong to Georgia Tech.
Tell you what, both teams from the in-state rivalry game right here. The pace of play has been tremendous. The intensity's been awesome. Both benches have been into this game, and it's been a fun one to call. 1 minute to go. We got a one-possession game. Jackets leading this one. Again, game is 33-32. Pace of play probably favors the Jackets if they can take care of that basketball.
You mentioned Georgia Southern looking for their first win against Georgia Tech since 1958. It's important to note they've only met 5 times since then. Georgia Tech winning all 5 of those, of course. But the Eagles 4 years ago here at McCamish had a 3-pointer to win the game and missed. The Yellow Jackets escaped.
It's hard to believe, only 5 times. You know the Jackets, they're not going down to Statesboro. That place would be a madhouse.
Yeah, Georgia Southern, by the way, opened a new facility about a year ago, the Hill Convocation Center. And that one rolls in off the back of the rim. And one opportunity for Georgia Southern as they take the lead.
Surprising stat here is points in the paint. Georgia Southern, 18 points in the paint, 19 points coming off the bench tonight. Georgia Tech points in the paint, just 12. So did not think that would be a strength tonight for the Eagles, but scoring in the paint, they've done the damage just like that in transition.
And McCavion White completes the 3-point play. He's got 7. Andres Burney, who averages just 5 points per game, has got 8 tonight. And a foul coming here against Kyrie Dunn, and he doesn't like the call. Georgia Tech in the double bonus. That's a tough one to swallow for Georgia Southern. That's 13 fouls against the Eagles as a team, which obviously doesn't affect the double bonus anymore, but stacking up fouls across a lot of different players.
Yeah, Moore, big piece of that. He's been settled on the bench with 3. Webb, leading scorer with 2. Carter with 2. Koulibaly with 2. So
Georgia Tech gets 1 out of 2. And Georgia Southern wants a timeout here with 18 seconds. Want to try and capitalize on the last possession of the first half. We'll have it for you on the other side.
Tech matches up man or zone. Regardless, I think, you know, work the clock, attack with, say, 5, 6 on the clock. They've been very successful, whether it's a dribble handoff or a ball screen situation. Put the head down, try to get to the paint, and then if Georgia Tech collapses, you want to kick back behind the ball. But Georgia Tech's had a tough time with dribble containment. Looks like they're in a sagging man-to-man defense, so look for some ball screen action or dribble handoff, or they might go 1-4 low. That looks to be it, 1-4 low. For Georgia Tech, no foul, switch everything.
And a foul coming against Georgia Tech. That's going to be on Lamar Washington. They got him with a push, and that puts Georgia Southern at the line for 1-1.
That hurts for the Jackets, just a little bit too physical on the perimeter. So these are freebies, chance for Georgia Southern to score, but Georgia Tech can secure. They have 8 seconds to operate on the other side of the ball.
Dunn makes the first.
We never even got to see the 1-4, so they fouled before then.
Feel a little cheated.
Yeah, man.
I was excited to see what Coach Henry drew up.
Yeah, he was going 1-4 clear out.
So Dunn hits them both, a 3-point lead for Georgia Southern. And the Eagles are going to press a little here. Into Washington. Reeves floats it ahead to Mustaf with 3 seconds. Trying to get it down low to Dongo, who is fouled by Andres Burney. That pass was going out of bounds. And with less than 2 seconds remaining, Dongo's going to have a couple of free throws.
Georgia Tech executed a set play, side out of bounds, 2 passes, and then a sprinting Dongo secures the post up. We'll see the physicality right there. Got the left hand wrapping around, a little bit too much contact. I officiating crew all over it. AJ Desai, Trey Steins, Chase Shaw, calling a great game thus far.
Always taking care of the officials, John Babel. Always got to give them the shout out.
Got to respect the stripes, man. Got to respect them.
Well, you're wearing the black and white tonight.
Oh, yeah. Home team.
So Dongo hits one at the buzzer. And it does not fall for Applewhite. And so it'll be a 1-point lead for Georgia Southern at the half. 37-36. We have been treated to quite the opening 20 minutes between the big city, Georgia Tech, and South Georgia, Georgia Southern. It's been a competitive 20 minutes here at McCamish Pavilion. The Eagles have been lighting it up. Georgia Tech working down low in the paint. We've got much more coming at you here from Midtown Atlanta.
Can knock down shots to the three-point line. His range is true. The guy has.
They're really going after it. They're not flinching. They've got Georgia Tech turned over 10 times in the first half. Of course, the Jackets some problems.
So Moore back on the floor with 3 fouls. He was sidelined the final 6 minutes of the first half in foul trouble. And Carter draws an early foul here on Jaden Mustaf. John, you were talking about the experience that Georgia Southern has on their roster. Take a look at the veterans on this Eagle roster. They've got 6 players who have played at least 5 seasons of college basketball.
And it shows. Points in the paint. They were winning the war. Points in the paint, 18-12 in the first half. This is a veteran group that attacks. There's no fear. And you see those names, Webb White, Bernie Moore, Applewhite, and Coulibaly. These guys get after it. They're going to be great in the Sun Belt.
You might ask yourself, well, how do these guys have this eligibility? Well, some of that redshirting, some of that even COVID for some of the oldest guys, as Dongo dumps it off down low to Sylla, who brought it down, tied up, and ripped away. Another piece of this, though, is when you're playing at that junior college level, it doesn't quite affect your NCAA eligibility like it does if you're playing D2 or D3. Three-point miss. That's now 9 straight threes that Georgia Southern has missed after hitting 5 of their first 8. And another turnover for Georgia Tech. Here comes Spud Webb. No relation to Atlanta Hawkgrave, but he's making a name for himself. Little head fake. And a foul coming here. Is this another one on Mustaf? It is. That's 2 quick ones.
2 quick ones. And you see Moore, number 12, Tyron Moore, was sat on the bench with 3 fouls and only played 7 minutes in the first half, but he's made his impact early on here in the second half, much like he did to start the game. Dropped 2 threes before he got saddled with those fouls.
You might have noticed when we looked back at that previous meeting from 2 years ago that Tyron Moore was playing for Georgia Southern, but last year he was at UAB and then has since transferred back to Georgia Southern. And Baye Dongo devours that shot. Moore, our second chance, just off the mark, and another long offensive rebound. Applewhite, baseline. Williams out of control. And it's Kraft on Webb. And that's going to be goaltending. Cam Kraft with the first points of the second half to give Georgia Tech the lead.
We're going to see the effort play. Dongo hanging in the air, swats Carter. The athleticism, the discipline to stay vertical and not foul on that play. There you see, that's what experience does. He's a guy that's going to be a force to reckon with this season in the ACC.
And that's really the key to Georgia Tech's success. Not only do Baye Dongo and Mo Sylla have to produce, but they've got to be on the floor. And that means defending without fouling. McCavion White weaving in, no-look feed. Webb, corner 3, and around and in. And that snaps a streak of 9 straight, or beg your pardon, 10 straight misses from three-point land for Georgia Southern.
And not certain where the breakdown came, but Sylla might have had to leave the paint on that one to contest the three, and there we get a traveling violation.
So a turnover. Here at the other end. First, look at this pass from White.
Here see Sylla gets pinned under the basket in a scramble situation. He may have to get out. Closest guy to the ball. Wide open three. Reeves got stuck in the paint as well. That's 15 turnovers now in the Yellow Jackets. Could be a different story here if they were able to take care of the basketball.
That has been the early story for Georgia Tech this year. White running the offense. And out of Carter's hands into Webb's. Webb taking on Reeves now. Left short, Sylla gobbles it up. Kraft, a three-point try. No, Sylla the offensive rebound and one. Mo Sylla cashing in second chance points for Georgia Tech.
He was able to just muscle number 11, Shannon Carter, under the basket. And those are the 50-50 balls that the winner of this game is likely to win that battle here in the last 16:58. Who can get the 50-50 balls, the effort plays, and take care of the basketball? And on that possession, Jackets win the war.
By the way, that's the third foul now on Shannon Carter. So both he and Moore for Georgia Southern with 3 fouls. Sylla misses the and one. White with some handles at his size. Applewhite walled off by Kraft. Settles for the hook. What touch, just over the fingertips of Mo Sylla. Impressive from Alden Applewhite. Did not play last time out for Georgia Southern. He was ill. And tonight now it's 7 points and 7 boards.
Don't settle short. He's got 3 assists too. As a player.
Air ball there from Reeves. It'll stay with Georgia Tech though. Well, that, again, to your point, John, just speaks to the balanced attack it's been for Georgia Southern. They've got 6 players with 5 or more points, but nobody with more than 8.
And I think White and Applewhite, they both bring an element to their game that is going to serve them well in the Sun Belt. The physicality, the athleticism, they are tough matchups. And the pedigree of Coach Henry coming from the NBA, working with an NBA guy in Iowa State like the mayor, their head coach, he loves to find isolation situations on the offensive side of the ball and attack. And you can see that influence of the NBA game in his coaching style, especially late in the game.
Dongo's got to let go of 3, not his strength. And a shot clock violation right out of bounds either way. It's Georgia Southern's basketball. By the way, before that last inbound, a delay of game warning was assessed to Tyron Moore.
And the mayor I was referencing was Fred Hoiberg, one of the greats, Iowa State, and a 10-plus year pro, coached in the NBA, and certainly a mentor to Charlie Henry as he's come up through the ranks.
Yeah, his first college job was as a GA at Iowa State for Fred Hoiberg, and of course followed him to the Bulls, a head coach in the G League with Windy City. And all of a sudden, I don't know, they changed the air conditioning in here. That's a lot of air balls being thrown off. The wind pattern has changed. Lob entry, Dongo jams it home.
Dongo having a night. He's got 13 points to go with his 4 rebounds in just 15 minutes of play.
And a couple of assists from the big man. Long shot won't drop. These teams have been attached at the hip all night. Tied again at 42.
I kind of feel like who can string together 3-4 consecutive stops and answer on the other end. Nice job by Mustaf. Yep, big ooh on that. Sylla very capable of turning that one over, but a good foul. Sylla will go to the line, and he's just shooting 33% from the stripe on the season. They'll have a chance to get it going, give the Jackets a lead. We're knotted up, 15:08 to play on Krementz Court, McCamish Pavilion in Atlanta. Uh, 8-4, a +4 advantage in the paint. 6-2 advantage in the second half for Georgia Tech on points in the paint. You know, Dongo's a big part of that. But Georgia Southern in the first half was +6 points in the paint. They had 18 points to Georgia Tech's 12. So what stands out there is a concerted effort by the Jackets to get inside and impose their will on the backboard and the interior scoring. And hopefully that plays out. Georgia Southern's had trouble with opponents on the backboard, Wiley.
The Yellow Jackets would tell you there's not a game that they should lose the battle in the paint. I don't care who the opponent is. They would tell you that's got to be their area. You know, Coach Stoudemire says he feels like he has one of the best front courts in the league, if not the country. A turnover in transition, picked off by Moore. 3-on-1. And contest from Lamar Washington. He will force Moore to the free throw line.
Nice job by the Eagles on that possession, just weathering the storm, making a play, and they'll have a chance to earn it. Hands up play. Tyron Moore read the eyes, much like a free safety to a quarterback, and makes a play. He'll go to the line, Wiley, and again, guy that should be well rested. He's got some legs. He only played 7 minutes in the first half with 3 fouls, but he did hit 2 triples.
And he ties the game again. A couple of subs coming for Georgia Southern. With that foul on Washington, he now has 3. And you throw in Jaden Mustaf with 2. Those are the 2 most trusted ball handlers for Georgia Tech. And I wouldn't say they're quite in serious foul trouble, but they're nosing up against it.
And against an opponent like Georgia Southern, there's multiple possessions. More possessions than so in a regular game because of pace of play. So having the discipline to play without fouling is a premium on that. Georgia Tech will have to watch their backcourt fouls.
Kai Fleming in off the bench, putting together quality minutes these last few games for Georgia Tech as Sylla tries to bulldoze down low. A 3, it won't go. Reeves soars in for the board, and 1. Kawasi Reeves emerging, erupting suddenly, soaring through the lane. That's a big energy play for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, he's second leading scorer for the Jackets on the season, averaging 13.5 per game. Shooting percentage not great this year, but his ability to make timely buckets when his team needs it, that's been his most valuable piece of his game and his contribution to the team early on in this season. He's really stepped up as a leader, and he's making plays in clutch situations when the Jackets need it.
You go back to opening night against Maryland Eastern Shore. He helped Georgia Tech avoid disaster with what ended up being a game-winning 3 in overtime.
And I believe he was 1 of 10 from 3 before he dropped that second triple of the night, which really clinched the win for Georgia Tech, allowed them to get out of there with the dub.
He's giving Georgia Tech a 3-point lead. Dunn crossing over on Dongo. Gets it over Dongo, and that is wet. Oh, man. We're tied again.
Dunn, step back, create space. Dongo answers at the other end. Preseason second team All-ACC selection.
Now with 15 points for Georgia Tech. It's already a season high for Dongo. White lost control of it, gets it out to Satirov. And his shot, an air ball. Bernie lays it in, but first, we've got a foul coming on Bernie. That's his 3rd.
So the fouls now are stacking for the Eagles. That's 18 fouls. See Georgia Tech slow to get out. Dunn dropped the 3, and then Dongo answers quickly on the other end. Nice positioning, switches to the left hand, a solid finish. Georgia Tech up 2. They have to go the length of the floor. Eagles picking up full court.
You know, Dunn's given up 8 inches there on Dongo, and it felt like they each kind of took advantage of the mismatch. Dunn hit the 3 in Dongo's eye, and then right on the other end, Dongo posts up Dunn.
I'm not a mathematician there, but Georgia Southern wins that battle if it keeps going that way.
3-2. Dongo feeds it across the lane to Marshall. And Peyton Marshall, he's got his first basket tonight.
Really nice post-to-post passing, the high-low action. Dongo with the hook pass into Marshall, kept it high, and Dunn answers again.
He's shooting over 40% from three entering tonight, 3 of 5 from distance this evening. Dongo with space tries to lay it in, and it'll stick with Georgia Tech. There is no sign of separation for either of these teams coming anytime soon.
Dunn, lefty point guard. You think Damon Stoudemire's like, well, I've seen guys do that before, like look in the mirror myself. Got a little Stoudemire in him, the lefty pull-up 3. Dunn with 13 points in this game.
Sloppy pass there from Georgia Tech. Another turnover. That is 17 now tonight. And that one on an inbounds pass, just an airmail to Dongo. Dunn, how hot is he? Whoa. You try again. This time on the drive. He's in trouble, and he turns it over.
Yeah, Jackets dodged the bullet. Peyton Marshall's got to stay until his teammate can get through that ball screen, especially against the Dunn. He's already dropped 3 triples. You got to stay on that action.
And Dongo is tied up. Yellow Jackets will keep possession. Where we have found some separation has been on the glass. Georgia Tech is at +11. Reeves off the mark. There's a board for Georgia Southern, but that's a number to follow. That's been the weakness for the Eagles so far this year. And Applewhite draws the foul. It's a little out of control. And is that going to be on Washington? It looks like it will be, and that's going to be 4 on Lamar Washington. Oh my, that is a significant development for Coach Stoudemire. His primary ball handler is going to have to head to the bench.
They might have an argument right there. I'm not sure if he had any contact. He's looking for an instant replay. It's like, can't contest a foul, though.
Dunn, a 3. And Akai Fleming rises up for the rebound. So Georgia Tech's going to have to lean on Fleming and Mustaf to handle the ball here with Washington headed to the bench with his 4th foul. Fleming, elbow, catch.
Solid, gets the poor closeout, covers some great ground. One dribble, covered about 8 feet. Explosion, elevation, knocked it down. That's a big-time shot by the freshman.
Among the top 60 recruits in his freshman class, according to ESPN. Spud Webb's got just 5 points tonight, their leading scorer. Bernie on the follow, and he will get to the line. He will have 2 shots when we come back. Georgia Tech, a 3-point lead. This has been tight the whole way, and we got a great finish coming up here in Midtown Atlanta.
9 points early in the season against East Carolina. 11 points is his season high in the win against Johnson C. Smith. And tonight, it's a new season high for Dunn with 13, and we got 11-19 to play.
Andres Burney misses the first free throw, and he's one of those guys, John, we talked about it. 6 years of college basketball. He's at his 5th different school. He's played at the junior college level, the NAIA level, and now here in D1 for the 2nd time. He spent a year at Jacksonville State. He hits the 2nd free throw to cut it to 2. And who's Georgia Tech going to have at point guard with Lamar Washington on the bench right now? Akai Fleming bringing the ball up the floor.
Switching zone defense, 3-2 matchup zone, double down on the paint. Reeves.
Tap in from Dongo, a second look, and he's got it by Dongo. This is the all-ACC play he has put up throughout his career.
And Bernie just couldn't get it done, giving up size down there. Had a little bit of help from Moore, but he's giving up inches as well.
Lefty Webb misses the three. Tussle for the rebound. All bodies all over the floor, and Georgia Tech ends up with it. And they'll stay with Georgia Tech.
Georgia Southern 0 of their last 4 from the field. No field goals in the last 2:32 of this game. So Georgia Tech, maybe this is that run that creates separation. We haven't seen one yet. Could be knocking on the door of that right now. Jackets with the ball in control. Chance to stretch the lead. +4 advantage right now.
Which matches their largest lead of the night. So as you mentioned, they haven't found separation. Georgia Southern did have a double-digit lead about midway through the first half, but really since Georgia Tech went on a run to tighten it up, we've been nip and tuck. Dongo with apple white on him. Sylla with 5 to shoot. A long way from the rim. Kicks out to Mustak. He'll try a three. Way off the mark. That's a shot clock violation against Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech stalled a little bit, let the clock go down, and Georgia Southern, stoic effort on the defensive side of the ball, holding their ground, contesting shots.
And Georgia Southern, the first 8 minutes of the game, they shot close to 50%. Since then, they're shooting below 30. Those shots have not been falling. Dongo with some hands. Creates the steal. He'll try and finish it. And one by Dongo, taking over for Georgia Tech.
Puts the foul on Dunn as well. The leading scorer for the Eagles picks up his 3rd on that play. Dongo, active hands, pick, going the other way.
Substitution for the Eagles, number 5.
How fluid is he in transition? The body control takes the contact by Dunn and finishes. Great concentration by Dongo. Timely bucket. So 6-point lead for the Jackets. Largest lead, like you said, Wiley, in this one for the Yellow Jackets. Chance now to stretch it to a 3-possession game.
And Dongo's got 20. He had just 28 points combined in the first 3 games he played. And right now, he's the difference in the game. Tavion White with an aggressive take, left it short. And the Yellow Jackets sensing a little bit of momentum here. The Eagles haven't made a basket in nearly 4 minutes. Fleming a couple of off-ball screens. End of the shot clock again. Reeves off the window, no.
Solid defensive unit. Fleming, Reeves, Lustoff, and then you anchor it on the interior with Dongo and Sylla. That's an athletic lineup. You can switch on the perimeter, stay big. These guys have great athleticism, closeouts, and if you get beat, you got Dongo and Sylla in the paint to erase any mistakes on the outside.
And looks like there's going to be a challenge here on the out-of-bounds call.
Georgia Southern, like you said, 0 of their last 5 from the field, 1 of their last 7 in a scoring drought.
So a challenge on the out of bounds, and we will step aside. Georgia Tech with their largest lead of the night. Georgia Southern looking for an answer.
Georgia Tech is challenging the ruling on the 4 of out of bounds.
There's a look at A.J. Desai and the announcement.
After review, the ball goes out of bounds off of Georgia Southern, number 21. The challenge is successful. Georgia Tech will retain their timeout. They also have one challenge remaining.
That's new in college basketball. Coaches have an opportunity to challenge those out-of-bounds plays. And, well, let's take a look at what A.J. Desai and his crew saw. Take a look at the right ring finger of Spud Webb.
Reeves hits it, and then Spud Webb right there. And you can see a little bit of a change in the rotation of the basketball. And so with the successful challenge, you'll be able to keep the timeout and one challenge remaining. Good call by Coach Stoudemire and the Jackets.
Dongo right at midcourt, puts it on the floor. Largest lead of the night for Georgia Tech. Fleming, a three, he's fouled. And he'll have 3 free throws. Georgia Tech, they haven't hit a three in nearly 20 minutes of game time. So that's because they relied heavily in the paint.
Yeah, that's okay, you said it, but there's the inside out. You command the respect of the defense. Solid shooter, gets the contact. Kai Fleming at the line, but Georgia Tech points in the paint in the second half, 18-2 advantage. And again, in the first half, it was all Georgia Southern in the paint, 18-12. They had a +6 advantage, and now it's, for the game, 30 points in the paint for Georgia Tech, 20 for Southern.
Fleming hits the second. Obviously, so much was made of Sylla coming to Georgia Tech, and so far, of course, he's delivered, averaging a double-double, but Kai Fleming has made quite the impression now in 4.5 games, it feels like, for Georgia Tech. And we talked about it earlier, but those minutes are going to be going up. He's played 23 tonight, averaging under 18 this year.
And production is high. He's had averaging 9 points per game in those 18 minutes per game he's playing.
And huge second chance points from Shane and Carter. Into Dongo, the extra pass to Sylla. He flicks it through.
And that triangle action, wing, short corner, high post. And Dongo and Sylla, you think they've been practicing that in the preseason, individual workouts and practice? They do the tap to the lob, and that one was the bounce pass. And it was like second nature, but again, Webb answers, trying to keep Georgia Southern in this 2-possession game. Webb now with 8 points. That was his second triple in the game.
That's just 3 threes on the season. Fleming from the corner. Won't drop. Battle for the board. Reeves goes up. Dongo, a third chance, maybe a fourth. Between his legs. Takes a hard fall, and it's Georgia Southern basketball.
Crew was letting some contact go on that possession. Both teams getting after it. Georgia Southern in striking distance, down 2 possessions. We'll be back in Atlanta, ACC basketball.
All right.
The timeout, trailing by 6, Georgia Southern, and they make a run. They've relied heavily on the three-pointer tonight. And a reverse on the drive, no, but an offensive rebound from Kyrie, I beg your pardon, that's Alden Applewhite. Webb off balance. And Dongo, another rebound. Now 1 board shy of a double-double. He also leads the Yellow Jackets with 4 assists tonight. Dongo has been everything for the white and gold. Gustav trying to clear out the way. Runner. And rebound controlled by Spud Webb. Against Fleming, good hands from the freshman. And it's Georgia Tech basketball. He forces the turnover. And Georgia Southern and Charlie Henry, they want to review this.
We're going to see a challenge, and I think Henry has a pretty good argument here from the angle I saw.
Here's our first look at it. Fleming reaches in with the right.
Goes off his shin. Ooh, I don't know. No contact. I think they got it right.
Charlie Henry was right there.
Georgia Southern.
I didn't see Fleming touch it.
We'll see what AJ Desai and his crew, along with Chase Shaw, inside the Georgia Southern huddle meanwhile. And the other thing that's going to become a factor, it feels like, in these next 6 minutes and 18 seconds is the foul count. And I'm not just talking about getting to the bonus, but the foul trouble both these teams are in individually. You've got Shane and Carter and Tyron Moore, each with 3. Kyrie Dunn and Andres Burney, each with 3. So that's 4 Eagles with 3 fouls. And then you've got Lamar Washington with 4 for Georgia Tech.
You see on that angle right there, the right shin.
Yeah, and doesn't look like Fleming touches it. That is Webb's hand that we're seeing, right?
Correct.
Yes, that is Spud Webb's hand. You see Fleming there reaching in a little higher up.
Yeah.
Looks like a call has been made. Let's hear from AJ Desai.
After review, the challenge by Georgia Southern is unsuccessful. They will be charged a timeout, and they can no longer challenge.
So Southern down to 2 timeouts left now. Georgia Tech with 3. Long way to go in this one. A 6-point margin, a little over 6 minutes to play. But Georgia Tech with the basketball, and Kwesi Reeves will inbound it from in front of Georgia Southern's bench. Reeves floats it, alley-oop, no. Good job of getting in the way by Spud Webb and company. Applewhite goes in, draws contact, he'll head to the line.
Applewhite, nice job getting to the paint. It was the 19th turnover in the game for the Yellow Jackets. Really one of the main reasons the Eagles have been able to hang around.
Alden Applewhite transferring in from Murray State, where he spent the last couple of years. A 75% free throw shooter, misses his first try of the night. It's the second. 5-point game. Georgia Southern averaging over 90 points per game, and it looked like early they were on pace to reach that mark, but give Georgia Tech a lot of credit. They have clamped down since about midway of the first half. Mustaf probing. Dongo trying to flash open, it's not there. Fleming with 3 seconds to shoot, has it knocked loose, and here comes Georgia Southern on the break. 3-on-1. Moore to cut the lead in half, short. White penetrating. Long 3, and Applewhite drains it all the way from Statesboro. He let that thing fly. And it's down to 2, a 7-0 run for the Eagles.
The Eagles fans who've made the trek from Statesboro, they're into this one. Entire bench is up. We got the defensive chant coming on strong from behind the Georgia Southern bench.
And we have under 5 minutes to play. And Fleming, it's ruled to have gone off McCavion White. Now Georgia Southern doesn't have the challenge here. First, a look at the shot from Applewhite. And a timeout here called by Georgia Tech with 8 seconds to shoot. The Yellow Jackets trying to protect a 2-point lead. The Eagles roaring back here late in Midtown Atlanta. Take a look at this last sequence of Kai Fleming. It was ruled to have gone off Nakavian White, and John White didn't touch it. That's a break for Georgia Tech.
He did not, and then we'll look back at the end of this one, however it shakes. At 6:18 on the clock, the unsuccessful challenge by Coach Charlie Henry. So they were charged a timeout, and they no longer can challenge, which, you know, who would have known a minute and a half later?
Exactly.
You wish you had that challenge.
100% you do. And if we'd stayed with that replay, I think we were about to see Nakavian White's eyes pop out of his skull when he saw the call. 8 seconds to shoot. Fleming turns it over. Applewhite again. And an offensive rebound for the Eagles. They bring it back out. 2-point game, a 7-0 run for Georgia Southern, trying to add to it. Swipe, Webb spins, and he'll go to the line with a chance to tie it.
Webb, a nice job getting into the teeth of the Georgia Tech defense and somehow finds a way to draw the contact on the veteran defender, Reeves. Here, the crossover, took some contact right there, no call. And then the bottom left hand of Reeves in the back. He earned that one, chance to go to the line.
And Spud Webb, who spent the last 4 years at Division II Emmanuel. By the way, they call him Spud. His name is Tavares. But his grandfather called him Taterhead until he was 9 years old. And finally, Spud went up and said, "Hey, Grandpa, can we..."
We didn't audible on that.
Can we come up with
I'm no
something
longer
different?
Taterhead.
Yeah, so they settled on Spud, and he added that second D so he could distinguish him and the Atlanta Hawks' Spud Webb.
Spud's working because he's averaging 20-plus points per game this season. It's a baller.
And Lamar Washington back on the floor for Georgia Tech now with 4 minutes to play. He's got 4 fouls. Mustaf got more in the air. Good help from Carter. Dongo trying to post up, and 5 seconds to shoot. Mustaf's got to let it go. He's not going to get it up. And another shot clock violation for Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets have not scored in over 4 minutes. A 1-point game, our final timeout. We've got a finish on the way in Midtown.
And the Eagles are 68% of the season.
Both teams effectively in the bonus. Next foul for Georgia Southern would put Georgia Tech at the line, and a rare turnover. For as sloppy as Georgia Tech has been at times, that was a big mistake out of a timeout. A poor pass from Nakavian White looking for Spud Webb.
Tech's defense been solid, again holding Georgia Southern 34% from the field in this one.
And right now they're 30 points below their season average of 93 points. It does feel like Georgia Tech's been a little slower to get into their offense early in these possessions. Ooh, nearly picked off by White. Fleming lets a 3 go. Off target, White the rebound. Under 3 minutes to play. White gets a step, goes up. Sylla with the rebound.
Nice job by Dongo, staying vertical on that, not fouling.
You can see the scoring drought for Georgia Tech over 5 minutes, but they still have the lead.
Both teams with 2 timeouts remaining. Sylla's going to have one.
And he hits it, Sylla. How about that for your first career 3?
Locks up the double-double on that, too. Give 11 points, 10 boards.
An answer from Applewhite, no, but right to White, he'll let it go. And Lamar Washington, the rebound, as he throws it ahead for Moustafa. On the take, and a blocking foul. That's going to be 4 on Tyron Moore.
Take another look at the 3. Sylla, no hesitation, corner 3. I've worked on that in individual workouts. Got the green light. Let me drop my first college 3. No better timing. Sylla, double-double.
Well, if you draw up ways to break a 5-minute scoring drought for Georgia Tech, I don't think a Sylla 3-pointer is on the list. That's the first 3 Georgia Tech has made since the 8-minute mark in the first half. It hasn't been a focus of their offense tonight, but still.
Take what the defense gives. Corner 3, nothing but net, and then Moustafa, chance for big free throws to create separation. Good one.
Georgia Southern has been in tight games all year. A 1-point road win against Florida Gulf Coast, a 3-point win at home a week and a half ago against UNC Asheville. The Yellow Jackets as well, an overtime win. A 5-point loss in Athens on Friday. Moore, catch and shoot 3, that's big, and it's a bullseye.
No hesitation on that one. Came off the curl, squared the shoulders, nothing but net.
Lead is down to 2. Calling for Reeves on the wing. Moustafa goes right, taking on Moore. He's playing with 4 fouls, and Jaden Moustafa, what a drive.
It's a big possession right here. Both teams have 2 timeouts remaining.
And speaking of that, John, timeout Georgia Southern. A 4-point lead for Georgia Tech. And into the Georgia Southern huddle, Coach Henry's going to try and draw something up.
Yeah, Coach Henry saw the shot clock winding down a little bit. 19 to go on the shot clock. Moustafa, look at the finish right there. But again, with 2 timeouts remaining, now just 1. Coach Charlie Henry coaching both sides of the ball right here. What are we going to do offensively? And then if we score, if we miss, a lot going on in that timeout huddle right now. Wiley, I think they've got to get something going to the basket, draw the foul, get to the free throw line. And again, if they can suck in the defense, throw back behind the action and get the 3, Kyron Williams has had the hot hand. I mean, Tyron Moore, my bad.
To your point, Kyrie Dunn's been pretty good too, though, from behind the arc. So 19 seconds to shoot. And on the flip side, John, Georgia Tech defensively, they have put the clamps down on Georgia Southern. In your mind, what's led to that success defensively?
Just their length, the communication, the sense of urgency they're playing with. It's been a solid defensive effort, and I think the athleticism, they can switch guard to guard. You know, the 3s that Georgia Southern have hit have been usually off a turnover, early offense, or a ball screen where the big is late showing. So you may see some ball screen action on this. Little roll replace and throw back behind the D for the 3, or if you can turn the corner, get something going to the rim and draw the foul, get to the line. 19 seconds, plenty of time to work with. 1:08 on the game clock. 1 timeout remains for Georgia Southern, 2 timeouts for the Jackets.
And possession favors the Eagles. Here we go. 1 minute and 8 seconds left in the second half. White has trouble getting it in, and that is not a backcourt violation as Carter collects it, but now he turns it over. The turnover out of a timeout. Georgia Tech with possession, less than a minute to go. And it looks like Georgia Southern is going to try and play this straight up, down by 4. Kick out. Washington thinks about a 3, but he wants to kill some more time.
It's a great decision by Washington. Let's burn another 10 seconds off the clock.
5 to shoot now. Moustafa lets it go. No! And Washington cannot save it. It'll be Georgia Southern basketball, but now with half the time they had before that turnover.
And missed shot, dead ball situation, so they cannot run the baseline on this, and only one timeout remains.
Into Spud Webb. Georgia Southern, they need a basket. Can Webb give it to him? He wanted the foul up the window, nearly dropped. Instead, it's a rebound for Sylla in Georgia Tech, and now a foul and frustration for Georgia Southern. And Spud Webb with some words there for the official and not calling that three-point shot foul.
He was lobbying for the call. Might have been some contact on late in the play right there.
And that would have been the 5th on Washington if it was called. What do you think there, John? Was that the right call?
I think so. I mean, let them play. They have kind of kicked the legs out after the play was made. By the rule book, you're supposed to allow the shooter to land. And I think he did land. So I think it was the right call.
Sylla hits the first free throw. Sylla with 9 points tonight in the second half, I should say. There you can see the double-doubles from the two bigs down low. That's the engine for Georgia Tech this year. Dongo and Sylla.
Yeah, points in the paint in the second half. 22 Georgia Tech, 4 for the Eagles. Dongo and Sylla, big part of that.
5-point game. Southern needs a bucket quick. White takes the 3. And we're not done yet. Nicavion White cuts it to 2. Georgia Tech's got to get the basketball in. Coach Stoudemire wants a timeout. That's a big shot from Nicavion White.
Plenty of time, no score. One timeout remaining for each team. 9.5 on the shot clock, and the Eagles ball movement number 5. White knocks it down.
It's kind of similar to that shot Kawasi Reeves had a couple of weeks ago, John. You look at White's numbers tonight, entering that shot, he was 2 for 12, 1 for 5 from 3, but he hits a big one to keep the Eagles in this game.
That was his first field goal in the second half.
Wow.
The big one. Stepping up.
So if you're Georgia Tech, obviously you want to get it into one of your better free throw shooters.
Absolutely. You know, substitution pattern. We'll see who comes out for the 5 Georgia Tech players on the floor. But again, the team that has struggled in the free throw line early this season in the low 60 percentile. There, Kraft, that's a great substitution, but you've been sitting on the bench, a little bit stiff.
And Kraft, a great shooter, has not taken a free throw this season.
The key right now is you've got to step to meet your pass. You've got to come to the ball. We'll see if Georgia Southern guards the ball or stays off it. They're going to go Carter, heavily pressuring the freshman inbounder.
After a make, he can run the baseline, gets it into Kawasi Reeves. He's tied up, and a foul called with just under 7 seconds left. It's going to be on Spud Webb, and it'll be 1 and 1 for Kawasi Reeves.
75% free throw shooter coming into the game, 12 of 16 from the free throw line. And if, you know, Coach Stoudemire, you got to love it. You got your senior. He's made clutch baskets this season. He's a 75% free throw shooter. You avoid turning it over. Right now, a chance to make it a 2-possession game with your senior leader on your home floor. No pressure, Kawasi, no pressure.
No pressure. The Georgia Tech graduate at the line trying to ice it. And he misses the front end. 5 seconds. Southern may have a chance for the win here. White trying to tie it. As the clock expires, the Eagles do not get a shot off. Georgia Tech wins. And boy, the Eagles,